We've all been living through this pandemic, and as I see it, like a civil liberties movement and a civil rights movement, and then our internal sadness. We've been collectively living through that, and I had to make a painting that would address it right away, over and over and over. I couldn't just ignore that. That's the material that gutsy paintings are made out of. But I don't think I can paint another black paint. It gets other marks or color. It's only so many I could make before I'm like, I'm wrung out. I need the elixir. I need the medicine. Part of the job of painting is telling historical truths, like what the paintings that came out of World War II. But then I think also, like, Monet painted his water lilies in World War II. Like, at what point is it also the job to yourself and to everyone else? I think I want to paint the elixir, the medicine. I grew up in North Beach in the 70s, and so it still had the kind of waft of the beatnik era, was still sort of peppered over the town. And I grew up with the big Clifford stills in San Francisco, and it was like, oh, like the paintings finally spoke to me when they were of that scale, that degree of emptiness, and a whole room of them. And I think I've always painted to that. Like, it only really starts to operate at 7 feet, better off 8 feet, where it starts to be a place. I kind of knew I wanted to be a painter, but I wouldn't say it. So it started actually, like, my first tool was the lid of my gesso jar. So it's just the most immediate thing that was there. I would put one dot on each piece of tracing paper, and I hung a whole wall of what became this material library. And that's when I had this, like, early graduate school aha moment. For me, the tools are a means to an end, and they're also a sculpture unto themselves. I have a glass artist, Dean Benson, I collaborate with, and he's made all my tools, including the failed lenses. I've always wanted the paintings to be more energy than they are mass, and I like that Mylar and glass are kind of try not to even be there. I feel like they inform the paintings as ideas as much as they are physical tools that make the paintings. The way that the glass both suctions and glides depending on the viscosity onto the Mylar, I was like, oh, this is good. I make canvas works also, but there's something about the Mylar that allows for real immediacy, clarity, and magic without me fighting with the material. It's a departure from the series of primarily black works that I've been making. I think I did it. I think I said what I had to say in that series. So, right in the middle of doing this film, I think I've transitioned from one series to another. Where the thing hits you all at once, like when you step into the sunshine, and it actually gives you like a physical dose of levity. I think it takes a tremendous amount of sanity to paint at a certain scale and commitment. I'm only really interested in making a painting if I'm a little uncertain that I could pull it off. Oh, fuck. That was a wet puddle. And things can go horribly wrong and I have to backpedal us out of there. The thing is, yellow really stings. Once I've made that first move, I run back up the ladder and I look at what I've got. I have to abandon everything I had previously intended about the work. And at that point, listen to what I've physically got out there. I have always really revered painting. Like there's a sort of a heroic truth and irreverence that is allowed and expected to be investigated in painting that is, I don't think, particularly allowed or the point of pretty much anything else. Certainly not architecture. There's several people without whom I would not have become a painter. One is my mother, graphic designer. I think my father wanted me to be an architect because he gets that. When I think of my family, I realize that they're all makers. They all live by their wits of what they can make. There's a hat maker, a dressmaker, an architect, graphic designer, writers for sure. I mean, there's shrinks in there too, but a lot of making. When I go to make something, I can feel my mother in my hands, and I can feel her mother in her hands in the scissors, just in the way I'll cut something or the way I'll draw a line. It allows me to trust myself in ways that I sometimes wonder what the hell I'm doing. I grew up in a house that looks like a Corbusier house, and the whole idea of the wall itself erupting to reveal what's actually going on that everybody's placidly trying not to talk about within their clean, fancy modern architecture, that was an innate preteen urge that I'm still playing out. So this is rust that I harvest from a U-Bahn can. I want to complicate the layer of the surface using rust and soda ash and 2 layers. They have released the closest photos you've ever had of the surface of the sun. And you can kind of see that there's a 20-mile chasm between one lick of fire and another canyon of fire, and try to get that level of depth. Where I can reward close inspection, like the ocular details, and get into it, and then it can also just all operate on me at once. Fia. Somebody says light in my face changes as soon as I say Fia or think of Fia. I love that she has gifts that I don't have at all. I think she just is. She's happier than anybody in the previous generations of my family. She has all this lightness in her that is just her. She's sort of like this sunshine creature. I'm grateful to have moved to Los Angeles. It could not be at a weirder time. Which is the nature of putting down the first mark. Metaphorically, it turns out different than what you think.